Hello, everybody. Welcome to my BookTube channel. I am Marlecia, also known as Marlecia Muses, and today's video is going to be in regards to The Private Eye in July, the books I've read for that so far. Probably the only books I'll read for it this time around. The Private Eye in July, the prompts for that are read any PI story written from the 20s to the 60s, and then to read any PI story written from the 70s until now. And I think I saw this on Ghostwriters in the Sky. I'm not positive, but I think that's where I saw it. And I do not know who originated this tag, but I'm grateful to whoever did it because it sounds like a lot of fun. Actually, it is a lot of fun. So I started out, if any of you have seen my review on the Maltese Falcon, I started out with that book for my offering that comes from the 20s to the 60s, but I DNF'd it for reasons that I go into that in that particular video. I replaced it with Agatha Christie's Cards on the Table. Okay, I did a little research on this because I wasn't sure how to go about a book review. Oops, sorry about that. So I found out first about the author, and Agatha Christie is considered the most widely published author of all time, outsold only by the Bible and Shakespeare. So that's pretty rarefied company for Agatha Christie. Her books have sold more than 1 million copies in English and another billion in 100 foreign languages. She died in 1976, okay, after a very prolific career of 6 decades, 60 years of writing, Agatha Christie. This particular book was published on November 2nd of 1936. So it does fit in the first time slot of the 20s to the 60s. The overview of this, or the synopsis of this, is that there's a dinner party and there are 4 bridge players who become suspects in a murder. Okay, their host, Shaitana, is found murdered. Okay, now a little bit about this. Shaitana, well, they describe him as I cannot say it, Mephistophelistian, like a devil, okay? He cultivates that kind of image. And he's the kind of person who gives fabulous parties, and people love to go to his parties, but he makes people uncomfortable. And he meets Poirot at, I think it's it's in a museum, but they have a display of snuff boxes. I believe it's snuff boxes. And he talks to Poirot a little bit, and they're talking about people who collect things, and Shaitana says he only likes to collect things that are really valuable, that are worth collecting, and Poirot wants to know what that is. And he says, well, it's sort of in Poirot's line of work, murder. He says, oh, do you collect and Poirot is like, do you collect the weapons or the bottles or the knives or whatever? And Shaitana says, no, I collect something even more valuable. And he piques Poirot's curiosity with that, and he tells Poirot that he wants to collect the ones who got away because those are the best of the best. So he invites Poirot to this dinner party. Okay, keep that in mind. He invites Poirot to this dinner party. At first, Poirot doesn't really want to go, but he goes. And when he goes, he finds that there are 7 other people who have been invited, okay? And they're invited for dinner and to play bridge. And the people who are invited are kind of an interesting mix. There's Poirot, there's Ariadne Oliver, who writes mystery stories, there's Superintendent Battle, as superintendent, and then there's Colonel Race. I believe it's Colonel Race. I believe that's his rank. So they're at one table, and then you've got 4 other people. You've got Major Despas, soldier. You've got Dr. Roberts. You have Anne Meredith, and you have Mrs. Lorimer. Okay, and they're at the other table. All right. Before we break off into this bridge party, the 2 different bridge tables, 4 here, 4 in another room, they had the dinner, and Shaitana drops hints about murders that have gone unsolved and makes some of the people uncomfortable, okay? But they eat their meal and they go out and they break off into groups for this bridge game. Shaitana himself, he doesn't want to play. He just wants to sit down and relax in front of the fire while they have their fun. So the four sleuths, Poirot, Ariadne Oliver, Colonel Race, and Superintendent Battle, they're in one room. And then the other four are in the other room. And while they're playing bridge, Mr. Shaitana is killed. And then this book goes into the solving of the mystery. And I'm not going to go any further than that because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it. I will read you the blurb on the back, though. In the matchup of the century, four sleuths, including mystery writer Ariadne Oliver and the incomparable Hercule Poirot, have been invited to play bridge with four cunning criminals, each of whom has gotten away with murder. For the host, it is irresistible entertainment until his own murder becomes part of the game. Now it's up to Poirot to play his hand and decipher one of Agatha Christie's most ingeniously plotted puzzles, the best Agatha Christie has ever devised. Okay, so I love this book. This is one of my favorite Agatha Christie's. I would probably give it between a 4.8 and a 5 if I were to rate it. It's got some of my most favorite characters in it. I love Ariadne Oliver. I like Superintendent Battle very much. Of course, Poirot. I like one of the ancillary characters that you will see who is not a suspect, and she comes up in the book later, in other books later on. And Major Despas. I like him. So this has got a lot of characters that I like. The characterization is wonderful. The plot moves quickly. There's enough twists and turns to keep you guessing. A thoroughly enjoyable read. Okay, so this was my early read to do the 20s through the 60s. I was going to do, like I said, the Maltese Falcon, but that didn't pan out. So this was the runner-up. Not a hardship. I would have read this again anyway. I was going to hold it off probably till Christie Goes Missing, but I read it now. So this is really good. The next book I read, okay, this book is part of a series. There are 4 books in the series, and it's actually written for children. It says like 8 to 11. I would beg to differ. I would say that slightly higher in age, because consider things like Looney Tunes, okay? On the surface, it's for children, but there are things under the surface that adults and older kids would get. That's the way this series is. It's got, the surface level is definitely child-friendly. They can get everything. They understand the storyline on that surface level. There are references in here to noir classics, okay? And that unless the children grew up in a house like ours where they grew up on noirs and things like that, they might miss. This is the Sam the Cat Detective series. It's by Linda Stewart, and it features a Russian blue cat named Sam. He works as a private investigator, and this series is known for its urban noir style. Yes, I'm looking at my notes. With all characters being cats and cases involving humans as well as felines. It says here that it's targeted for a younger audience, but is enjoyed by adults as well. And this one was published in 1993. There's Sam the Cat. There's Sam the Cat, the Maltese Kitten, The Big Catnap, and The Great Gatsby, okay? Those are all books in this series. This is the first in the series. I gotta tell you, I am so happy to have read this. First of all, I was gonna read the Maltese Kitten first and review the Maltese Kitten and the Maltese Falcon together to see how they compared, okay? When I jettisoned the Maltese Falcon, I decided to read these in order. So, Sam the Cat Detective is a lot of fun, okay? This is a kid's novel. I have markers in this child's novel, okay? here's something. Okay, listen to this. If Philip Marlowe came back as a cat, he'd have come back as Sam. All the deadpan humor is here, in spades, with a mystery to solve by one clever cat. And parents will enjoy reading this one too. Meet Sam the cat. His fee is half a pound of locks plus expenses. His clients are other felines, but he catches human crooks. He's Manhattan's funniest and furriest private eye. And when something smells fishy, you can count on him to act. Okay? And I started reading this and immediately started marking things. I actually stopped reading it about a chapter in to show my husband a quote, because this is very reminiscent of things like the Maltese Falcon and Casablanca and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I know Casablanca is not, strictly speaking, one of these kind of noirs, but it's got that feel of rat-a-tat-tat, if you will, the dialogue, okay? Here's an example. The alley was as airless as the inside of a cow. At the edge of it, a bright, almost gaudy full moon tried to creep over a rooftop. It wasn't trying hard. It ran out of energy halfway over the water tank and hovered there in a crouch. Yeah, this is good stuff. I mean, you move in slowly, you meet Sam, then you meet Sugary, who is the damsel in distress. And as you go through, you meet other cats. I think he has a run-in with a dog, but he just out on the streets. And another cat, whose name is Miss Kitty, has to kind of doctor him up a little bit. The cast of characters is really fun, okay? Listen to this. And I promise not to do too many of this, but it's just, I was so excited I wanted to share this, okay? This is page 22. Another quick move and I was standing on the ledge, if you'd call it a ledge. It wasn't much wider than the shadow of a snail. My feet had to stand on a line, single file. Did that stop me? Not me. If I'd had any brains, I'd be teaching mathematics instead of chasing thieves, so I didn't even flinch. I stood on the window ledge and gazed at the night. Out there below me was a hot toy city with dark toy secrets. Small men and women the size of tin soldiers paraded down the street. Cars, like caterpillars, slept beneath the trees. And if I hadn't messed it up on my stumble, I could see someone like Humphrey Bogart saying these kind of lines, okay? It's just, it puts you in the mood. The descriptions are there, but they are there to enhance the dialogue and the characterization and the plot. It's just very, very good. I just very much enjoyed it. I would recommend this to adults who want a light read, who just want to maybe cleanse their palate, or just have a little bit of fun and still be in the noir. If I had more time, I would go ahead and read the other three in quick succession. But I have other books I have to read, so I'm leaving them for later, maybe even for next time we do Private Eye in July. I was super ecstatic about being able to find something in the 70s to the 90s that I can read, because I don't want the situations, I don't want the language. And yes, there's violence in here, but it's kid level violence, which means it's me level violence. So I truly would recommend this to someone who's like, okay, I want to try this, but I'm not sure I want to go in for these situational kind of, stuff that's usually behind closed doors, or extra blood or extra language. This is fun. And if you look at it, if you look at the print, it's not a baby book, okay? And I really would hesitate to put this at a level with a 8 to 11-year-old, because there are references to one of the cats being interested in Sugary, and it's very clean and it's very innocent, but it would go right over an 8-year-old's head, I think. Okay, this is fun. I would give this 5 stars. Yeah, I would. Okay, I will stop gushing. That is my review for the Sam the Cat and the Agatha Christie, my private eye, in July. I enjoyed reading for this immensely. You will see more about Sam the Cat. This will show up in my book haul video along with the other books that I got. I may actually do 2 book haul videos, and I hope also to maybe do another review if I decide I want to do that. But in the meantime, I want to wish you all a very wonderful weekend and to thank you for joining me for my meanderings. And I hope you join me with me again last. I did so well until this point. Okay, I hope to see you again next time I record. And I thank you for being here with me, sticking with me with my meanderings. God bless and have a great day.